going to mention a few connections I thought I had with David, and I really didn't know, didn't remember. Apparently sent me a letter 10 years ago, whatever, about that occasion he's talked about then. I never knew. I have that link with him, which is great. Just in case I forget about the discretionary awards thing, in case people aren't familiar, there were mandatory awards and discretionary awards. If you got a degree somewhere, you got a mandatory. That sounds right, you could have a grant. When I went to art college in McGill, it wasn't a degree in those days. I had to apply for discretionary grant myself. Long time earlier than you. And we then set up a subcommittee because we realised that people were actually being deprived, particularly in the creative areas and media areas, stuff like that. So I'm delighted, absolutely delighted. As for 2 or 3 other people who've come up in the past, I had no idea that David was one of those who benefited from that. I should have known, and I didn't. I apologise. You know, I'm on line 1 now. I just want to explain that I did contact Elaine. I'm not sure she is. Hello, Elaine. I did contact Elaine. What I was getting anxious, asking if it was okay for me to just say thank you and not make a speech, but she insisted that it must be at least 20 minutes long to stretch to lunchtime. So, anyway, it's been a long time since I was involved in public speaking, and I do need some reminder notes, so I will go on too long. The end of last week, as my family knows, and in particular, I found myself becoming quite anxious about the day. What should I say? What could I say? Because a couple of things being alluded to today about regional government, all kinds of things. What do I want to say? And what might be said about me that I might need to respond to. And thank you, Martin, and everybody else. It's all been very lovely. I'm not sure it's all true, but it's all been very lovely. I initially tried answering these questions by sinking myself into much searching and researching right over the weekend, going through countless documents relevant to my involvement with Gateshead Council. My starting point for this speech has actually already been alluded to, and I'm grateful for that, was in the 1980s, when I organised a successful community campaign, Save the Avenues campaign, or STAC, as I think David had submitted a long time ago, we'll probably forgetting, somewhat unceremoniously described as SCAT. Well, it was very successful, we did succeed, and its logo, by the way, signed by Gail, was a roof, broken tiles in the chimney, so you get the idea. It was about areas of road housing on Gateshead. Save the Avenues campaign. It led to the creation of one of the first cross-sector partnerships that we were involved with, the Avenues Agency, and it also led to my election as a councillor for Saltwell in 1986. My search over the weekend then followed 33 years of progressive, often iconic projects and strategies, including our launch of Gateshead's ambitious Vision 2030, which some of you may remember, some of you may not. That was in 2007, we launched that. In 2010, after further consultation, we excitedly updated, and that's it there, Vision 2030. But little did we know, and John has alluded already, the 2010 date, little did we know that this 2010 update would coincide with the start of a 13-year period of unprecedented decimation. Sorry, Jenna. Somebody mentioned heartache before it is. I'm hopeless at this sort of thing. Everything. Anyway, unprecedented decimation of Gateshead Council's resources and capacity, including the loss of thousands of experienced and excellent staff through redundancy. So, yeah, it's quite emotive. Anyway, my dive into the past, apart from that bit, was a classic example over the weekend of overthinking, of not seeing the wood for the trees. And so last night, I discarded my weekend of searching and navel-gazing, and I accepted the obvious truth of what being here today is about. The answer to all those questions I posed at the start, causing me such anxiety, was very basic and very simple. I just want to say thank you to all of you here, all of you, and to so many who are not here today. This honour means so much to me, and I will always treasure it. As leader of the council, again, Martin's alluded to it, he often spoke, I think on their kind of phrase with Roger Kelly actually, about the Gateshead family. And I just can't overstate how grateful I am to have been and to remain a part of that family, many of whom are here today again, but I can't mention you all. I once wrote about the sage, actually, glass house now. My words were, a vision is just a dream, unless you can turn it into a reality. The people at Gateshead allowed me and those I worked alongside to develop a vision for the borough and strive towards turning that vision into reality. I think we made good progress towards our reality. Gateshead is now known by many people, many more people, in many more places throughout the world. And despite recent and ongoing setbacks, I am very confident that this council and its partners will continue to make progress towards that better future we all wanted and want for Gateshead and its people. I am deeply rooted in Gateshead, as is my family, past and present. I'm fiercely proud of those roots, and I can't imagine any honour that could mean more to me or to my parents, who are also Labour councillors, than being awarded the Freedom of Gateshead. I believe it recognises their service as well as mine, and so I will cherish it for them also, as well as myself. Although my parents and my sister are no longer with us, I'm going to try very hard not to get emotional. Are no longer with us, I'm grateful for those of my immediate family who are able to support me here today. My wife Gail is here. Oh, I don't know why we put the flowers in. Especially, and I'm very, very happy that our son Tom, one of our sons, Sam was in Bali, our son Tom and his partner Solani there, and they were able to drive up from Leeds. I'm especially pleased that they have a lot of other things happening right now, including work, buying a house, and having a baby. Sometime this month, we think. Yeah, and I might be back to America about Bessie. John asked me to mention. Our other son Sam would love to be here, of course, but the airfare is quite expensive from Bali, where his free diving school is located, and he's busy today, I know that. I also want to mention Fred. Sorry, who was here today with Sandra, his wife. Lots of friends to mention, so forgive me, not have time to do so, but this is important. Since my mum died in 2015, she would be 100 tomorrow. Fred is now the person that I've known longer than anyone else in my life. He's exactly 3 weeks older than me, and when we were born in 1947, we lived a few doors from each other, in huts on an ex-army camp at the top of Lobby Hill, the site of an anti-aircraft gun during the war. Our huts were rented from the council, and I still have our council rent book and my birth certificate showing 12 Lobby Hill gun site. I also have a receipt for the payment my parents had to make for me to be born. The amount was almost exactly equivalent to 1 month's rent for our hut. And the month when I was born, this age isn't that much, I'm sorry, spoke on me. The month when I was born was the only entry over 60 years of rent books and council properties that my parents were in. The only entry of rent arrears, almost exactly equivalent to the month they had to pay for my birth. In 1948, almost exactly 9 months later, after I was born, the NHS came into being, and building has started on the new council estate at Lobby Hill. Fred and I moved there, where we lived and grew up together, 2 doors away from each other. So that's a pretty cool story, I think. And I'm very proud of it. The NHS and thousands of new council houses are just 2 examples of what did happen and what could happen with a Labour government, but especially within a context, again being alluded to a little bit today by Ron, within a context of more consensual rather than conflict politics, as was the case then. And I've got to be very careful about what I say, because I'm very conscious that David is a historian, and I might get the history wrong, so I've got that right about the consensual. It was called the period of consensus in politics, and Del Monte put a definite end to it. David, I've read some of the stuff by David, and he mentioned council estates and his very bad experience of the one, in Cuphead's Village in particular. And I just wanted to say that I'm one of the very few people, I think, in this room other than David, who has actually lived in St Cuthbert's Village. But that was my choice when I came back from art college, and I had a better experience. But I also want to mention that, you know, there are two ends to the spectrum, and always have been. I'm sure you know that, David. There was Lovely Hill, which is a wonderful example of good council housing that was built during the war and after the war in particular. And then there was St Cuthbert's Village, which was a design fiasco and didn't understand the function and the purpose that it should have been meant for. So David and I hadn't met before today, but we do have those few links and connections that I thought I mentioned, not least including Marion. Gail and I have known Marion for a very long time. For a long period we lived not a few doors away, about 2 doors away from the leisure centre, where David had been talking about. I mentioned St Cuthbert's Village, but I didn't know about the discretionary grant, and I'm very, very happy to have heard about it today. I'm especially proud to be sharing this ceremony with David, and I do, much has been said about him, but I respect him so greatly. Not just where he's come from, what he's done, but actually that he is such a remarkable man in so many ways. He's such a skillful person to present history in the way that he does to so many people. So, great respect for you, David, and I'm really pleased today that today's ceremony demonstrates that Gateshead feel the same as I do about you. So well done. So many times as leader of the council, I made the initial phone calls to potential freemen to check they would say yes, because that's what you had to do first. And I'm reminded of what was called today. I've actually been reminded of it twice now already. Because of course, freedom of the borough does not come with any privileges. For example, I've written here, it does not mean being allowed to graze sheep, as so many have joked over the years. But well, I'm going to have to find a new thing to say. I said that many times as well. Not alone, but actually, but when I did phone Anthony Gormley about becoming a freeman, he was not joking when he requested that sheep be allowed to graze at the Angel of the North. He was very serious about quite another mini argument between me and Andrew. Anthony is quite forceful, as you know. But increasingly, as the council endures ever-reducing support from central government, I feel there may actually be some merit in this idea as a means of maintaining our many green spaces. So I think maybe Saltwood Park for me and lots of other places might be able to think about that. So no privileges, but a very real honour. Being a freeman means being an ambassador, just to remind ourselves, an ambassador for Gateshead, promoting whenever and wherever possible. I promise to continue doing that. Thank you.